We're back, and I'm always delighted to be able to say we are joined by one of the rock stars of the Real America's Voice network. Its principal duty expert on the border insecurity problem. He is the host of a wonderful podcast and program there called Law and Border, and he is a regular featured uh, commentator on what is happening south of the border, at the border, and in our own country as a result of the wrecking operation that President Biden has unleashed in this domain. His name is Ben Bergquam. He is a terrific journalist, a very courageous man, and always a welcome guest here at Securing America. Ben, good to have you back, my friend. Welcome.
Always a pleasure, Frank.
I want to catch up with you on a couple of breaking news items. In the course of just the past few hours, we've been hearing about the revelations of the latest instance of human trafficking resulting in large loss of life with people essentially asphyxiated, I guess, heat prostration and what have you, in a trailer tractor in Texas, not too far from Uvalde, where the recent loss of life was marked by, you know, uh, violence in a school. Talk to us about both this as a microcosmic example, Ben, and as a symptom of a much larger problem.
Well, from a microcosm, it is the largest mass casualty event since the Alamo in San Antonio. It's hasn't haven't seen anything like this for over 100 years, and this is, as you said, on the macro, this is a daily occurrence when it comes to cartel trafficking. We have
Mm.
semi-trailer loads of illegal aliens being shipped all over the country. These are the ones that don't want to get caught. These are typically people that know they don't have an asylum claim. Most of the people that are coming across requesting asylum also don't have an asylum claim, but they know that they won't have a court date for up to 5 years or more, and so they take their chances and then just disappear into the society. It is a symptom of a much deeper problem, of connected to our border patrol, or excuse me, our border policies coming out of Washington D.C. right now that don't seem to care. They pretend to be compassionate. They pretend to care about innocent women and children, but in cases like this, it's clear they don't. And unfortunately, from what we're seeing, the numbers we're seeing, this is something that we should expect more of in the coming days, weeks, and months,
Yeah.
especially as we go into the hottest times of the year.
And Ben, your reporting has been all over this point. They may care about women and children, but they care about them because they seek to exploit them
That's right.
mercilessly. Essentially, it's the gift that keeps on giving, as they say, because of the earnings of people that are being trafficked in this way.
That's right.
It's just a blight of the worst kind on our society. Um, Talk a little bit more broadly, if you would, Ben, about the state of the surge that we've been anticipating now for some time. This has been described by you, among others, as an invasion. Is it still ramping up? And if so, is there any end in sight?
It is still ramping up. We've seen the last 2 months were the highest historically on record. We had nearly 250,000 illegals apprehended last month. And when you add in the gotaways, which range anywhere between double and triple the actual apprehensions, we're talking, upwards of 500,000 to 700,000 people in 1 month
My
that came
God.
into our country. And from my experience on the ground, it's getting exponentially worse, because what we're doing now is pulling finite resources of Border Patrol agents to deal with this massive surge of illegal aliens to the tune of hundreds of thousands every month to process. So we're taking them off the line. I was in Douglas, Arizona last week, and it was shocking. There was a stretch from Douglas, Arizona to the New Mexico border, which is roughly about 40 miles, that there were only two Border Patrol agents on the line for that entire stretch. And when we got down there, Border Patrol pulled me aside and said, "We can't say any of this on the air or on the record, but we've been abandoned down here." And
Yeah.
rather than helping us, they're pulling more of our resources. While we were there, we saw groups, we call these ladder crews on the Mexico side, moving at will and basically sending over groups of between 10 and 50 at a time over the wall. They're averaging anywhere between 200 and 1,000 a night down there in this small little sector. And so this is what's happening is we're being distracted by these fake asylum seekers that we're seeing in Eagle Pass and Del Rio and Yuma and McAllen. And what's the scary part is what's coming in those sectors that are being unmanned in places like Douglas, Arizona, and Calexico, California, and
That's
so
where I
on.
want to go next with you, Ben. Is who are these folks who are getting across in these sectors that are unattended? Whether there is gotaways or whether they've actually been processed in some form or fashion. I guess one statistic I'd be interested in is how many of them are people whose actual identities are unknown? And secondly, what percentage of them are, for want of a better way of describing them, unaccompanied military age men who could be coming in for any number of reasons or simply become a problem once they're here?
Well, the vast majority, and I don't have the exact proportion, but the vast majority from what I've seen and hearing from Border Patrol is that the ones that are coming across that don't want to get caught, we call them the runners, the gotaways. These are almost exclusively 18 to 35-year-old men. What we saw last week when we were down there, I saw in the entire time we were there, I saw one female. The rest were military age men that were coming across. And
Wow.
that is what we're seeing all across the border. You see the women and children being used as the distraction. It's if they're going to report, which they almost don't, mainstream media on this subject, they will focus on the women and children that are coming across. But keep in mind, many of those we don't have IDs on. We don't have backgrounds on. They're dumping their IDs as they're coming across.
Right.
We're still getting estimates that 1/3 of the children don't belong to the adults that are coming across with them. But when it comes to take those aside, when it comes to the people that are coming that don't want to get caught, that aren't turning themselves in for asylum, it is almost exclusively military age men.
And Ben, you've been doing a lot of reporting on what the statistics are signaling in terms of a growing number within that cohort. I don't think it's by any means the full tally, but just an indicator of the numbers of people who are on a terrorism watch list who are being picked up or identified as they're coming across the border. Give us a sense of the magnitude of this problem and what it portends if they actually successfully get in here.
Well, just historically, we'd be looking typically at numbers between 0 and 15, somewhere in that range. If you look back at the years past, we're already over 50 this year, and those are the ones that we've caught. The biggest concern that I have, that law enforcement has, that everyone that's concerned about the border has, is out of the unknown number of gotaways. And again, those numbers range dramatically. How many of those are on that terrorist watch list? And the answer is we don't know, and that's the scariest part about it. That's really the point of border security, is to know who's coming in. And right now, we simply don't. We will someday. That's something that we all anticipate. Some other mass casualty event occurring in America because of these policies. But what we do know is that there are more people coming in every single day, and there are more people getting away every single day. And out of those people, it's a higher proportion of very dangerous potential gang members and also potential terrorists that are coming in with them.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying to think what it means to the future of this country.
A mass casualty event conjures up, a shooting at Uvalde school or, the death of some number of people in a tractor trailer, for example. But what really worries me, Ben Bergquam, is when you look at the numbers of people in this category, unaccompanied military age males, whether they're those who have come across the border by the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, or for that matter, the tens of thousands that the Biden administration admitted without knowing their identities either from Afghanistan. Virtually all of whom, as best I can tell, Ben, have now been disseminated either at their own initiative or by the government throughout our country. the kind of mass casualties that could be inflicted by them are hard to even get your head around. It could be absolutely staggering. I mean, violence on an epic scale. No?
Well, and we're already seeing that. This is, you talk about the numbers. We've basically imported an army into our country.
Right.
This since Biden has taken over, by the end of this year, we will have more people brought in during this invasion. And the reason we call it an invasion is it's uncontrolled. There, as you said, there's many people hostile to our nation that are being brought in. We will have more people that have been brought in than more than half of the state's populations of our country.
Mm.
If you look at the numbers, we're going to be over 4 million, and that's actually the numbers that we've caught. So we could be looking at least double that.
My
It's
Lord.
unprecedented, it's incalculable, and that's what's so terrifying about it for people. It's you don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know if it's sleeper cells, but we already
Hmm.
are seeing that. We're importing massive numbers of gang members. We are having more angel families created every single day from illegal aliens
Yes.
that are killing Americans, and we're also seeing the highest number of deaths from overdoses from drugs that are coming directly from Mexico.
All
It's
part
on
of
every
your
single level. It's unprecedented.
portfolio, Ben. No, it certainly is, and terrifying at the very least. Thank you for your time today, my friend, and for the great work you do at Law and Border with Ben Bergquam at Real America's Voice. Required viewing each week, folks. I really commend it to you. Ben, come back to us again with updates on all of this. It's vital. Thanks so much
Thank
for your time today. Um, we'll be right back with much more right after this.